So many players are talking about if Classic WoW's 20th anniversary is going to progress through Wrath of the Lich King, and if we're still getting a Classic Plus. Classic WoW has so much potential, but some things need to be addressed first if it is actually going to shine. Today, we're going to be covering why RMT could negatively affect the future of the game and potentially doom Classic Plus. Now, the first thing I do want to talk about is I did watch a video the other day about how a guild officer who was giving out gold to his guildies for consumes, he got banned because the banning system actually thought he was a gold seller. And that brings up a major issue right there, that the banning system right now is absolutely fucking flawed. You also have things like the boosting mafia, the botting mafia, and I personally think that RMT is the worst it's ever been in all of Classic WoW. And if Blizzard doesn't do something now to combat that issue, it's going to bleed over into Classic Plus. And we're going to see a mirrored image of Anniversary's economy in Classic Plus. We're also going to see tons of bots, the mafias that are all running rampant and mass reporting legitimate players. And I have talked about this in other videos, and it needs to start with the demand for buying gold, because we see it. There's a demand so much for buying gold, especially because it gets worse every other day. You can see it with consume prices. They go up. All these materials get farmed by bots. Consumes go up. Players are like, oh my god, I don't have time to even farm gold because I might be working full time and I only have time to raid, so I'm gonna go and buy gold. If Blizzard banned gold buyers, the demand for buying gold would go away and bots would not exist anymore, because the bots and the botting mafia and RMT all feed off of gold buying demand. And Blizzard has not addressed that issue since day one of Anniversary. All they do is these massive ban waves that hundreds of thousands of botting accounts get banned. Oh, that's cool. That's a big number. Yet, give it a month, and I bet those numbers, maybe even sooner, all those accounts are right back up, just under a different name, doing the same exact thing. You know, I guarantee you, you can literally go out right now in the world somewhere, look for a Black Lotus or look for some type of high ore, and you'll encounter a bot. That's literally how bad it is right now. And when it comes to GDKP, which is another thing, they banned GDKPs. My opinion is that GDKPs are actually good for the game, and I'll tell you why. Because right now in Anniversary, the only time that anybody can raid is after 5 p.m. And I play on Eastern Standard Time. The only time that anybody can find a raid, at least an SR run, is after 5 p.m. or if you're on a scheduled guild run raid time. That's it. GDKPs allowed you to raid at any time of the day. Literally, morning, afternoon, evenings, middle of the night. You had discords like Stacks, and I've talked about this in a previous video. You had discords like Stacks and other discords that were constantly hosting GDKPs throughout every single time slot of the day. And that's why I think that Blizzard fucked up right there. They lost a huge opportunity when it came to keeping a major portion of the player base, because if I can't raid whenever I want and I'm slotted to raid only during a 5 to 6 hour time window, why would I even play the game? And that's the mindset of a lot of players right now who go and choose to play other games like OSRS or wait for a game like Ashes of Creation to come out. And like I said, the issue needs to start with cutting off the demand for buying gold, and that starts with perma-banning buyers, and that will stop the demand in its place. And everything else like botting, the mafias and all that, all of RMT will start to go down. Now, the next thing I want to talk about in regards to RMT is boosting, and why it is the #1 issue out of everything in regards to RMT. And the reason why is because you have bots and the botting mafia using boosting as a way to make thousands of gold that gets recycled into the black market that fuels the gold buying demand. You also have these boosting mafias that are using the banning system as a weapon to mass report legitimate players when they also come and want to make some extra gold doing boost or whatever it is. It's even being used in summoning groups, summoning players to Orgrimmar or Stormwind or around Azeroth to get to places quicker. It's being used even a DMT that if you undercut the Mafia in a certain way, they will mass report you. And the banning system, since it's automatic, gets weaponized against you. So here is a legitimate player trying to go about their way to enjoy Azeroth, and here is some nefarious group being like, hey, no, screw you. You are going to follow the same price that we set, or we're going to mass report you. And the reason why this is all such a controversial topic to me is because I do play a mage. The mage was the first class I leveled up in Anniversary. Right now I have a mage and a rogue. And the reason I say it's so controversial is because everything is so inflated right now in Anniversary due to the botting crisis and RMT that I use boosting to make some extra gold just to pay for raid consumes. I also enjoyed it because I used my mage to boost my rogue, because honestly I didn't want to level to 60 again. Because did I enjoy it the first time around? Yes. But I enjoy raiding on multiple different characters much more than the leveling experience. And I would much rather have multiple level 60s so I can raid and use my mage to boost those alts so I can raid quicker. But I understand that boosting is such a problematic issue that in the past Blizzard instance capped that right now you can still do 30 instances in a 24-hour period. Maybe as a solution though, Blizzard could even cap instances when it comes to the most heavily boosted dungeons like Scarlet Monastery or even Moradin. Instead of being able to do 30, maybe they can only do 10, and that would cut off a lot of the gold going to the black market as well. But I will say that boosting ties back in with demand. And like I said earlier in this video, that the really only way that you're going to cut off RMT and a lot of these issues and all the mafias and all these nefarious gold buying issues, if you put the fear into the heart of a gold buyer. You start permabanning them. You start telling the player base that, hey, if you go and buy gold, you are going to get permabanned. There goes the demand right there. Because right now, I mean, you have players that are AFKing in AV. Like one of my guildies got suspended for a month. Whereas you have other players who are buying gold, they're getting suspended for 2 weeks. What kind of precedence does that set? It basically says that, oh, hey, as a company, you know, buying gold is the least of our problems right now. That also tells me that the WoW token is most likely going to get introduced at some point when it comes to maybe TBC, or if they do go ahead and do Wrath of the Lich King. But like I said, all of these issues, as problematic as they are, if they don't get addressed sooner or later, the gold buying black market is going to trickle into Classic Plus. Yeah, Classic Plus is going to have a fresh start. But like I said, the economy sooner or later with all the bots and all this black market gold is going to be the same as Anniversary right now. So I think personally going into Classic Plus, Blizzard needs to put their foot down and be like, hey, anybody that buys gold, you're no longer playing the game. We're going to ban your account permanently. Bye-bye. There it goes, gold buying. At the same time, if you do want to do something like boosting, which is one of the most problematic things when it comes to RMT, is limit the amount of times that you can go and do one of the heavily boosted dungeons like SM, Moradin. You can only do like 10 dungeons a day or something like that. I understand that you can only do 30 right now in a 24-hour period, but limiting that would cut off a lot of the gold as well, and it would also make it so these mafia groups and all these players that choose to only do those types of dungeons for boosting, they would basically just like, what's the point anymore? So that's my rant basically about how demand needs to get taken care of and RMT would go away. At the same time, GDKP needs to get brought back because it was awesome. It allowed more flexible raid times. It would increase player numbers again, but hey, that's just my 2 cents. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are in the comments. Please leave a comment and tell me what you think. I also wanted to mention that I am now streaming on Kick. We're trying out a new platform, so be sure to come over and chat with me there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Not a single frost vulnerability. Holy.
I got 99.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Nice. Mana igniting cord. That's this for me.